Hey everyone, this is for DML position owners because this affects you and it's for everyone else as well who's interested. I want to point this out. So by now, here's where we are. You take a site like this, okay? And just bear with me a second because I will surprise you when I explain what this means and I'll tie it all together soon. I'm even going to go through a quick PowerPoint slide over this, or PowerPoint slide, don't know how quick. But take a look. Everything is here. Images, videos is a pretty darn solid site. Everything is set up nicely, right? Okay. And it's got everything going for it the way it should be. Now, if I were to go to an inner page, we have everything happening here. We have video, table of contents for the page. We can go down and up the page. Okay. I'm just showing you a sample website, right? It's got internal links to other pages on the same site as well as external links to authority sites. Everything built in, okay? It's very solid, all right? The website is great. It's got even banners, banner ads that were generated so you can click on the banner ad and it takes you to a destination URL. So if these were informational sites, somebody could be paying us to put their banner in the middle of the site of all the pages, right? Different things like that all add up. And I just want to point out how cool that is. And that could be somebody else's banner, the same company, depending on what they're paying, you know, to be in the pages. Now, here's the point. That's one website and it's got a lot going on, right? And even when I came to the bottom, I should have just pointed this out because I wanted to. If you go to another page, okay, it's set. There's another video, different video. It's got its own stuff going on, all right? So I just wanted to make that clear. This is a solid website and it loads super fast. SEO optimized, everything about it is incredibly cool. Now, here's the point. Let me continue just through a set real fast and point them out, okay? These are all websites that can benefit the same client. They were all set up at once, okay? And there's a lot of them here. If I just kind of like fast flip, right? Notice how different they are, okay? I don't want to waste time on this. I just want to make this point clear. Now, let me go to here. Okay, GT metrics for page speed, super fast, right? That's what the grades are here, A. So these are quality websites. Now, why am I showing you these websites? I'm going to ask you, how long did it take to create each one and to even buy the domain name in the first place from the time that we decided what the websites are supposed to do to the time that the website was completely and utterly finished and live? With all the pages, contents, images, videos, everything intact. How long did that take? About an hour a site. But guess what? How much work did it take a human to do? Here's the thing that's going to blow your mind because I've been wanting this for a long time and we finally got it. I made a single phone call and explained to the AI manager what I wanted. It asked some questions, I answered them. It was like a 10-minute call. Then I hung up the phone. All right? Now, here's where it gets crazy. And before I get into that, I want to revisit this point to make sure this is running through your head because this is serious. Where this is going is pretty amazing. Hear this guy out real quick, and then we'll come right back onto it. It's a short, won't take long.
I'd never heard of it either. But as of this week, it's running the largest autonomous AI agent operation I've ever seen in my life, and I've been staring at this stuff for 18 months like it's a Daytona 500 car wreck that just went on and on and on for hours like it did last week. 509 active companies, growing at 186% week over week. $237,000 in annual run rate revenue, growing at 132% week over week. 23,634 tasks completed, 16,654 emails sent, 438 tweets posted, 1,544 documents created, 44 new ads placed on Meta, spending real dollars, all in the last 24 hours, and 402 new companies launched in one day. Generating company names, writing entire websites, deploying them live on the internet, creating email outreach campaigns, running Facebook ads, and tweeting all without a human touching a single button. 402 times in 24 hours. I'd never heard of it.
Okay. Everything he said, we're not as fast as that yet, and we aren't doing paid ads. So we're not doing ads on Facebook or Meta, at least not yet. But everything else he mentioned, we are capable of doing. We have some of it 100% done. Other components of it, like 85 to 95% done. We just got to finish connecting them together through the AI system we built. So let me come back to this and make the point. I just made a phone call to launch the sites. Here's how crazy this gets. Let me see if I can get your attention on this idea. Okay. When launching these sites and making them good, it's not just websites. Let me see if I can step back and just make this point in a different kind of way. Because I'm about to walk you through a PowerPoint presentation. I may as well just put it up here like this. I want to make this point now, and that's this. Here's how crazy this got. I'll make a phone call and tell it my website, tell it what my business is. Or if I don't have a website, I'll tell it what I want and describe it. Okay. And it doesn't matter if I have a business or not. Okay. This kind of a situation can be set up for local businesses, but it can also be for people who want to create something drop shipping or coach, fitness coach, anything else. But here's the point. When I tell it, it determines everything it can to make different websites that encompass everything related to the task. And each website focuses on its own appropriate niche. Let me give you an example. Say we're talking about a roofer in South Bend, Indiana. I'm going to use that because I'm from there, so I know all the local cities. Or it could be Seattle, but let's just say South Bend, Indiana. Medium-sized town. So that guy's trying to compete, right? Now, we're not going to make him websites. We're going to make him entire business entities, basically, businesses online. We're not going to go out and register paperwork. We can leave that up to whoever wants to do that if they want to do that. They don't need to. But we are going to make websites that are totally AI controlled, self-sustaining, self-growing, customer support, email sending, invoices, estimates, escalating to humans, but otherwise learning from their mistakes, improving on things, going out and doing consistent competitor research, coming back and improving upon themselves and putting out social media about that, and more, way more, is already happening. So here's the weirdness. I can make the call now and say I want 50 sites about, again, South Bend, Indiana, let's say a roofer, okay? And here's the question, what do you do? It's like, okay, we do roof renovation, we do roof restoration, we do roof repair, we do roof replacement, we do roof financing. Maybe we do some of that. Roof repair, replacement, and financing. Okay, so then the system is going to realize, okay, so you're in South Bend. That means you have the town of South Bend, and it's got Goshen, Elkhart, what else? Mishawaka, some of the other towns surrounding it, right? Bristol. And it's going to say, okay, so I know where you are area-wise. What we can do is make websites for each of these, but we're going to go further. You do roof repair, roof replacement, and roof financing. We're going to niche those sites so that they get to be experts at exactly their topic. So we're going to do roof repair in South Bend. That's going to be a whole website, everything you can think of about roof repair, not replacement, not financing. Of course, it'll talk about roof repair compared to replacement. It'll estimate costs and tell you in which case you want to do roof repair. But it is centrically an information site about roof repair that leads the user to want to call the company. It's like a affiliate or referral site or informational site. We can do easily on our call when we set this up, we decide that, but it's simple. Now, having said that, that's roof repair for South Bend is one website. Roof replacement for South Bend, different website. Roof financing, different website. Except, let's go further. When it comes to buying anything, most people buy from need, greed, curiosity, or fear. Do all four apply to roof repair? Need? Yeah, obviously, if it's leaking, you need to fix it. That's roof repair need basis. That becomes a website about roof repair with the emotional intent of need, right? The buyer intent is need. So that whole website is written about roof repair from a need point of view for South Bend, Indiana. Say we wanted to do another roof repair site in South Bend, Indiana for the same company, but we don't want it to seem like spam to Google. Can we use another emotional angle? What about greed? To some degree, yeah. Enough to be able to put a website together is a question, but we're going to check and see. And the answer is going to be yes, because we already looked this up, and the answer is yes. Here's the point. If I want to sell my home, for example, and I want to save money, but I want to, stage the home as well as I can for sale, do I have to replace the roof, or will a roof repair work? That's greed, right? I don't want to have to spend the money on a whole new roof if I can help it. But is that a better move? Or should I repair the roof or replace the roof? Okay, what about curiosity? Roof repair. Yeah, there are a lot of questions like, hey, I think I've got a leak in my roof. There's a lot of questions like, hey, the tiles are peeling up on my roof. I can see it outside when I look up. Questions like, if my roof is super mossy, does it need repair or can I just spray it off? Kind of thing, Should I try to spray it off or am I going to wind up soaking my attic? So that is an angle. And then fear. Yeah, what will go wrong if I don't replace my roof? So you know what we just did? Came up with a perfectly good reason to have 4 totally separate websites that can all be for the same company and not spam. In Google's eyes, these can be reseller sites, affiliate sites, partner sites, franchisees for one company, but they should operate independently. They should have their own phone numbers, okay? They can share the same address, but they should definitely be for South Bend. And if they're informational sites, they don't need an address. They just need to tell people, click here to be sent to our recommendation. We've tried thousands of roofers in the area or hundreds of roofers in the area, and we pick, here's who we recommend kind of thing. So that's 4 websites for one topic. What about roof replacement? Do all 4 apply? Yeah, need, roof replacement. Greed, roof replacement. Curiosity, roof replacement. Fear, roof replacement. Yeah. What about roof financing? Well, not all 4 apply. You can't do greed. It's about financing. You're not going to make money on it. You're going to spend money on it, right? So it's not about greed. Greed doesn't apply. There aren't enough questions being asked on Google that pertain to greed when it comes to roof financing to make a website out of it. It would be ridiculous. So we won't do it, right? Now, what about need? Yes, obviously. Curiosity? Yes, like what are the rates going to be, right? Who's got the best rates? But then what about fear? No. Again, it's kind of a waste of time. There's not enough questions on Google about fear when it comes to roof financing, right? So what we know is we can make 4 websites for roof repair that are not going to spam because they're different intents. 4 for roof replacement, and then 2 more for roof financing. That's 10 websites just in South Bend. But guess what else we can do? We can make 10 more in Mishawaka, 10 more in Elkhart, 10 more in Goshen. If we did 10 times 10 surrounding towns or regions or however you want to name them, even if some of that is just really specialized, territorial neighborhood sort of things. Like I live in a neighborhood called Klahani. It's in Issaquah Highlands, which is different than Issaquah proper. There's Issaquah and Issaquah Highlands. And in Issaquah Highlands are all these subdivisions that are pretty darn big. They have lots and lots of homes per subdivision. And yeah, if you go looking for a roofer, you want to know if they service your subdivision, And so websites saying, hey, I'm looking for a Klahani roofer is not weird at all. That's normal. There are tons of searches like that. So here's the point. We already built the system to figure all that out when you call. So when you call and tell what your business is and you tell it what you do and you don't do, it figures it out from there. It figures out your angles. There's roof repair, roof replacement, roof financing is what you said you did, okay? And it moves forward with that. It checks every emotional intent against each of those issues to come up with the right number of sites to make that are non-spammy. And it looks at the surrounding towns if towns apply. If you're going nationwide and you're selling things, we can stick with the emotional intents and the purposes, but we don't need location unless we feel like it. I mean, you can go nationwide, but still focus on each major metro area, because then you're competing with the guys in the metro area in each section independently rather than competing with the nationwide guys at a nationwide level. Google loves to show local first. If you're looking for a fitness coach, you might want to meet him. So if the fitness coach is in San Francisco and you live in Chicago, well, if you're doing this, if you're searching for a fitness coach online and the guy who's selling you courses is nationwide, he might have Chicago-based courses, or his domain is about Chicago and his phone number is a Chicago area code, and it's a Chicago franchise of that company, so to speak. You know, the online version of that. Okay? So whether it's for a local business like a plumber or roofer or whatever, or you're just drop shipping, hey, 10% off to Chicago Metro residents. Your other website will say 10% off to San Diego, Metro residents. Fact of the matter is, everyone gets 10% off nationwide. But your websites can do that, okay? And that's not weird and that's not wrong, because it still applies properly. Yeah, it is 10% off to San Diego Metro residents, and they can be positioned as a site that way to catch their attention and sound and feel local. Now, having said that, our system figures out those angles, checks the emotional intents of every angle, and then checks all the surrounding geographies, or goes with big metro areas, or just sticks with nationwide. Again, all that's handled on the call. It also finds out from you if you already have the site or whatever, so that it can build the whole thing. And it's going to attach a Google Drive where you can do things like upload a destination URL, call back and say, hey, make the call to action be to get people to this page, and hang up. All the sites that got created, reroute the logic, like the CTA bar gets to be get a quote, click here, or whatever it is, and it'll update based on what got put in the drive folder. And for anyone who doesn't know how to do that, it's stupid simple, because by now our systems are so easy that you can just send an email to the right place and let AI extract that and put it in the drive folder for you, but you'll get access to one if you have one of these. Now, for all of you guys who are investing, realize that the position owners, realize I'm talking about what we're offering and how useful it is to companies. This is important to understand, right? And to normal people. All you guys who are interested, be interested for yourself if you want. Now, so the websites, okay, so we start with a call, give it the information, it figures out the maximum spread of websites it can make. And of course, nationwide, it could be thousands and thousands and thousands. It doesn't think that big. It stops at 200 for any given run, because it's huge, right? Now, then it goes and does competitor research. Figures out everything about your competitors at that level of engagement, whether it's local, whether it's nationwide, whether it's a few metro areas, okay? Figures it all out. Figures out what the competition is like, what they're pitching, what their big points are, what's not being mentioned that is interesting in search. It figures it all out. Then, based on understanding the angles, the emotional intents, and how it should write about these things, what the major points are that people care about, it literally starts deciding from the ground up. It figures out domain names and starts checking to see if they're available. Okay, and it creates more to check also if it needs to. And it goes and buys them by itself. Then it creates the cPanels on the server by itself. And when we do load balancing across servers, it'll look for server with the most room and go with that, or the server that's local to the destination, go with that. Then what? It also figures out a local phone number, looks up a real phone number that's available for rent, okay, through one of those services where you get them. Okay, there are a few. And we have ours all set up. So it goes and it figures out phone numbers, area codes, backup area codes if necessary, if the main one isn't available. But, and all that means is the next area code over. For example, I live in Issaquah next to Seattle. Seattle's area code is 206. By the time you come this far east, Issaquah, it is 425. Okay? So if I were to put in an order for a Seattle business, I'd say, let's go with the 206 area code, but if you can't, then go with the 425 as a backup. That's a detail. You'd kind of be bored with that, but that's not weird for anyone. If I get a call from a 206 area code or a 425, I'm going to consider it a local call. Very normal. Now, let me continue though, because this is important. It figures out the information for all the sites, puts the phone numbers on all the sites, and connects them to an AI assistant that it builds that handles the customer service on the phones. That AI assistant is attached to a stack of assistants that back it up in the back end, that do web lookups, deep research, sets appointments, sends emails, crafts documents like Word documents, PDFs, things like that. And it uses deep research for competitive reports, and it uses the email sender for sending anything it creates or anything from the Drive folder, actually, because it can reference that and send the appropriate files. And the knowledge base assistant that's in charge of knowing all about the company. It's where we send the documents that it learns about the company and therefore knows how to extrapolate that for the other companies based on their focal points. And so now when it talks to people who call in, it knows how to pitch the right way for the company all the time. Okay? And the whole thing has analysis built in. It analyzes everything now in the way of communications. Pretty soon, we're going to attach all the communications to a central location to be analyzed. So if somebody asks on a live chat agent a question that website never heard of before, out of the 20 websites or 50 or 100 in the area, and it's like, wow, that's new for me, then it will internally and rapidly decide whether it's supposed to contact a human or look something up online real fast or do some deep research and come back with an answer to the guy in his email and tell him it's going to do that. Get the guy's email and send him an email. Okay, that's the thing about the email. But if I were just to call it and say, hey, we got a client here who lives in a typical residential home, 3,200 square feet. He's got a 3-car garage. He's got some room in the back of one. He wants to put a toilet in the back, and he wants to just construct a simple room for, with a nice, with a door and walls and stuff and vent. But he wants the plumber part estimated. Like, what would it cost to run the piping back through there? And the sewer, does that, where do we do that? How do we do that? And, he could also want to know what piping would cost for an above ground pool in the backyard or in-ground pool in the backyard. So he wants the estimates. Okay. Whole point is, if he's calling one of these businesses because he's seeing it first, he's talking to AI that sounds so human he probably doesn't even realize it, although it'll admit it's AI when he talks to it, but it's there to help him. And it's guiding him through. What can it do? It can take down his custom request for his information and then create a PDF that's a sensible estimate for these tasks. Or like a PDF for one and a Word doc for the other. I'm just saying the capabilities are certainly there. And it can actually compose an email thanking him for the visit, reassuring them that we've been in business for decades and that we do great work. It's all warranted and covered, and our prices are competitive, and we have, availability for you after hours and on the weekends, whatever it is. Signed, sincerely us. We're here at the ready. Call us when you're ready. And that can be the same phone number for the website or even a dedicated line to somebody because it's in the knowledge base. The knowledge base can have hundreds of pages, single line spacing, just written full. Think hundreds of notepad texts it can have that of nothing but the company, how it works, how it operates, when it bundles, how it handles irate customers, when it decides to give someone a discount on their next purchase, everything. When they offer deals around the holidays, like Valentine's Day or Black Friday, and what they offer it on, what the deals are. And it can literally control all of that automatically, 100%. That's what that short was about. That's what we've been building. And we've got the groundwork done for it. All the important stuff is done. And every day we're just releasing the next pieces as we're just tying all these pieces in. We got a list. We'll put out an update list soon just to show you what's coming next so that you can know. And then somewhere where you can request something, guess what? AI will evaluate it and decide whether it's sensible to add it to the list or ask somebody about it. And when it adds it to the list, it can even put a projected date based on our Gantt chart internally via AI over how everything is operating and when we have time to do it, depending on how big a project it is. And then when this stuff is done, it's pushed out through all the sites that somebody's got. Because this is subscription. People will pay by the month per business. And when they do, what they'll get is all of it. Okay, so they are getting a whole business that's run by effectively a team of 8 workers, but 24 hours a day. So you could say 3 shifts. So it's really like 24 workers. And then full time on the weekend too. What's that, a weekend crew? So like another 24 workers for the weekends? Nuts, huh? And these guys don't need to take coffee breaks. They have high IQs. And they speak all languages, basically. And they can print in all languages. They can do questionnaires over the phone that would normally go in print. They can produce questionnaires in any language that already exists, attach them as a PDF or a Word doc or whatever, and send it in an email to the right person. So it's absolutely amazing. They can run the customer databases. They can update mailing lists, newsletters, whatever is going on. This is why I've been silent for the longest time, is because I knew we needed to finish this. So now I'm going to be showing you pretty soon a website where all of this stuff is lined up as different offers that make perfect sense. Real simple, real short and sweet. We'll add to it as we go. But right here is this rocketyourBizAI.com. So when you go, you'll see it's very tech forward and very simple. Simple, sleek layout with 3 options. And you'll see real fast what they are. One of them is arranged like territories, like DML, so that somebody can come in and say, I want exclusivity in my territory. I want that whole territory for my type of business, like plumbing in, the South Bend metro area. Okay? And you'll see that. That'll make sense to you when you see it, because you've seen this idea before. Choose an industry and choose a location, a metro area. That applies to you. And then you'll see what it should take. You'll see why, and it'll make sense. And then somebody can decide if they want to move into that. And they can either pay month by month or jump ahead and pay the discounted annual. But when they're doing it, when they get on the subscription, it'll decide how many websites they get, and it'll give them an email that tells them where to call and tells them, puts them through the questionnaire they need. And then literally just starts making the websites one after the next. Right now it's 1 per hour. Of course, once we get kind of out of this beta phase of just launching, we'll run this for a bit, make sure everything is cool, because it looks like everything is great, but we'll test on real world people. And then once we know that's good, what we'll do is we'll clone the process in such a way that we can load balance projects into it so that we can do 2 per hour, 3 per hour, 10 per hour. What if it took 10 hours to make 100 sites from the time of the order? And they're all done perfectly. And not just that, but AI will do competitive research every 3 weeks if we want. And I'm leaning that way. I think 3 weeks is cool because it gets a jump on everyone who thinks to do it once every 4 weeks, once every month. I like the idea of getting a little ahead of them. Because we're going to move cyclically that way. But it will decide every time it does the competitor reports if any of the pages on each of the websites should be updated because they're missing a piece, or because they're talking about something in an old-fashioned way and they should update those paragraphs. Or if when they do the competitive reports, they find that there's some new thing that came out that we never mentioned on these sites. And so it'll decide if new pages should be made. It's not just going to make new pages every time, or it's going to wind up with, like duplicate purpose pages on the website, some that are older, some that are newer. That's garbage, right? It should update existing pages to keep them relevant and modern without breaking the URL, because that's what Google hopes. That you're not confusing Google when Google shows links to those pages and all of a sudden you take the pages down. No, we leave them up as long as we can. We'll take down pages if there's a reason. And again, AI can judge that. But the point is, we'll update the pages that can be updated. Pages that need to be made new, we'll make new. For new pages, we can choose which ones we ought to post out on social media, because guess what else these websites do? They create their own social media accounts. Right now, some of those social media accounts need to be human verified. Pretty soon, I think that won't even be necessary anymore. AI will be able to do it, because each website will be able to click verification links its own emails that are incoming, and it can know to check that, on a schedule after having created the accounts. Start looking for the links to click on them to verify and enter whatever needs to be entered for the business to pull that off. But then what? Then each website decides when to post about new pages it makes and on what frequency and what timeline. So it can decide, put 2 posts up once every other day, or put a post up a day, or kind of a little more random somehow. But that way, every website, when it's putting stuff out, it's not doing the same thing, so it doesn't look like, again, some kind of spam routine. It won't really be if it's all these sites putting up a page on social media about, hey, there's this new thing we're offering that just is the new norm. Everybody should be offering it now. And that stuff is getting so common because AI is moving at the speed of lightning, right? It's forced us to hop on our toes so many times just to keep up. But we're clean. We feel very stable where we are right now. And we're just keeping up with the latest engines. But even the engines know how to catch up the connections whenever necessary anymore, finally. So we like where we're sitting. It's great. And that means we'll babysit the whole thing for the back end and make sure that every time we release new stuff, like guess what else is coming out? AI video testimonials that just represent the product well, right? Or the service well, right? Like guys saying, hey, these new hats that's being made by the hat manufacturer, I think they're pretty cool. I'm going to buy 3 more of them myself. Because I like the design. They're awesome. Yeah, that's no problem, right? Like, that's not binding to a sale. The guy doesn't need to be real. It's just as testimonials should reflect the quality and value that you're going to receive if you buy the same thing. That's what you're buying for, not because it's exactly Tom E. from, Bay Harbor, Bar Harbor, Maine, who's getting it. But that the testimonial you see represents the product well. Okay. Now, having said that, man, I haven't gone through the PowerPoint. It's getting long. I think I should break off and start a new recording to go through this PowerPoint. But I just want you to know that we are keeping up with the Joneses at the highest level. And we did stop and make that executive decision to do that before releasing. Before, what we had, we still offer. It's still there on rocketyourBizAI.com, and it will remain there because it's totally valuable. A guy can get a team of 7 AI employees for himself, personally, or for himself at work, or herself, sorry. But they can decide what that assistant, the main assistant, the one that heads the team, is supposed to be for them. An advisor, a consultant, a best friend, somebody who checks their email, somebody who sends off invoices, somebody who communicates with the tech crew to teach them things they need to know, somebody who can advise the repairmen that you send out into the field and they call in with questions and you need a tech person to be able to answer the questions. So you don't have to answer them all. That way you can do your job better, whatever that is, with the company. But then a company can come and they can get a bunch of these subscriptions for each of their guys. You know why it's worth it? Each team running 24/7 costs something like 14 cents an hour for the whole team. It's even if the price doubled, because we find that costs are rising to keep up with the better versions of things. Even if that happens, so what? It's 28 cents an hour for a team of 7 high IQ individuals who can operate in any language and do everything that needs to be done for the guy. So when a business owner outfits his or her key employees with these dedicated employee teams, DETs, then they're supercharged. They can just do dramatically more and shine at work. Okay, I'm going to break this off and come back in with the next video. There's going to be a bunch of videos now that we're there. And like I say, people are getting in. All the updates are just getting added on the subscription. There's no changing the subscription unless there's a significant reason. We're not trying to change the subscription. We want you guys locked in. Those of you who are getting in and locking in now are going to be locked in, especially if you prepay annually, because then your payment's done. You're done. So when we push updates through everything, anything that fits within that realm of updates, you get, right? And if we increase the prices, you're already paid for the year. And it's only if we're adding something like that's a whole new level that we'd have to reach out to you and say, hey, do you want that component too? And you might just say, I don't need it. It doesn't apply to me. So no problem. But everything is really cheap right now and extremely powerful. I'm going to walk through this PowerPoint presentation in the next video. And you'll see exactly what's going on there. It's crazy. All right. I'm glad that we took the time to release all this and put this on. And for all of you position owners, all the recurring revenue that we pick up from what people going to Rocket Your Biz AI will usually get 2 out of the 3 offers, because 2 out of the 3 are awesome. Okay. They might even get one of those twice. They could get the dedicated team for themselves. But then if they're getting websites, they could get a dedicated team for the websites. Okay. So that's where that becomes like 3 subscriptions. Okay. And people who see the value in that are going to want more, because we built this so that the businesses run themselves, improve upon themselves, fight to compete all year long without needing human involvement. Although the owner can obviously call into the AI manager and ask for changes or updates, but doesn't need to unless there is something materially different that happens at their company or whatever it is they're selling. And it applies to everyone now instead of just businesses, because anyone can go, and for an average amount of money, the kind that pretty much anyone with a job has, then they can get in and get rolling with something like an Amazon store. They can drop ship something. They can offer software, fitness training, or coaching, or online services, or whatever it is that they want to offer. Okay, and these businesses are like the perfect affiliates. You couldn't pay an affiliate better money to do everything right, like you can with a whole system like this running itself all year long, AI, and we're going worldwide in all languages with it within the next probably 3 months. Okay. It's a lot. I am going to break this down and you'll see the value of it. And this is building forward so that we want to release this hard and fast. And anyone who's listening who gets the point, it'll take us a bit because we're just starting the marketing. We got to fit that into what people are understanding and getting over their obstacles. But we'll figure it out because this is so huge, you can't ignore it anymore. And once I get through the PowerPoint presentation, I'm sure you'll agree. All right. So just know, I've been working for you guys the entire time, believe it or not. And this whole thing is still on, believe it or not. And as crazy as the world has gotten out there, and we all know it's gotten crazy, we're just keeping our nose to the grindstone, forward looking. And the weirdness has just been catching up with the AI at this insane rate. Okay. because it's been moving like lightning. And so it kept moving our markers automatically. We had to play catch up. But we're at a point where this is solid enough for us to turn it into a subscription basis now. And then as AI keeps moving forward, that's all right. We can just keep updating the system. AI moves, we update the system. So it automatically does everything better naturally. Okay, that benefits companies in a big way and people as well. So we are now open to everyone, and within 3 months, worldwide, we'll be able to do this pretty much for anyone in any language, anywhere, and seem native all the time. Right down to videos like this that can be auto-translated, complete with my lips moving correctly in every language and sounding basically native in every language. It's nuts. Okay.